Hey YouTube, so this is my third video in my vlog series, and for this one I thought I'd do something a little bit different and do my pre-fight predictions for UFC 126, which is going to happen on February the 5th. I think for many people this UFC is a lot more interesting than the previous one, purely because it has much bigger recognised names. So what I thought I'd do is I'd just take the three fights which I think are going to be the most exciting or the most important and just examine them all individually and see who I think is going to come out on top. So the three fights I'm going to look at are Ryan Bader v John Bones Jones, Forrest Griffin versus Rich Ace Franklin, and Vito Belfort versus Anderson the Spider Silva, obviously. So first things first, we've got Ryan Bader v John Jones. Bader's obviously the Ultimate Fighter 8 winner. He's 12-0. He's on a good run. His last fight was against Antonio Nogueira, Minotauro's brother. Um, a lot of guys are saying this really wasn't a big fight, and Nogueira's not really a top flight competitor. Well, that's kind of hard to believe. He's always been a good fighter. His last fight was against Jason Brills. He got Fight of the Night. In 2006, he even knocked out Overeem. And for those of you guys that don't know who Overeem is, he's not in the UFC, but he's largely considered, unless you're Dana White, to be one of the best fighters in the whole world. So Ryan Bader's gone up against some pretty okay competition, and he's come out ahead 12-0. But in the fight, his last fight, I was watching it and I was thinking, this guy's a professional fighter, and he looked tired, like he was gassed in there. So Ryan Bader's cardio leaving something to be desired. On the other hand, we've got John Jones, who's 11-1, but that one was due to illegal strikes, so he's effectively undefeated. Um, 2 fights ago, he got knockout of the night against Brandon Vera, who is undoubtedly a good competitor, so we know John Jones can throw. Um, and he is a cardio machine. Like, there's no question in this fight. John Jones will not tire before Ryan Bader does. And I think it's that's going to swing the fight towards Jones. Um, a lot of guys are jumping on the John Jones bandwagon and saying that he's going to be the next champion, he's going to be this, he's going to be that. I don't think he's quite there, and I'm not confident enough in him to make those statements. He needs to tighten up his ground game, make sure he's not leaving submissions, tighten up his stand up a little bit, though it is above average. But I think if the fight does get finished, and it could go to decision, but if it does get finished, I think it's going to be the third round TKO by John Jones, just because Bader's run out of gas and he can't defend himself against a better fighter. So next we've got Forrest Griffin v Rich Franklin. Obviously both fighters are fan favourites. Griffin, the Ultimate Fighter 1 winner. He's 17-6, former light heavyweight champion, and everyone knows Griffin's a bit of a brawler. A lot of guys are talking crap about his ground game, saying he hasn't got one. A couple of months ago, he got his black belt, so he's good. But a lot of guys will have a better ground game. But I don't think his ground game's a weakness that he has. It's just we've not seen a lot of it, or we haven't seen a good display of it. Unfortunately for Griffin, he's hit a bit of a roadblock recently. His last 3 fights, a loss to Rashad Evans, an embarrassing loss to Anderson Silva for the title, which I think we all remember, and a very close split decision which could have gone either way to Tito Ortiz. Forrest is just not looking like the same Forrest that he used to be. So I think we need to see a bit more of the old Forrest if we want this fight to go and be a great one like we know that it could be. Up against Forrest, we've got a 28-5-1 Rich Franklin, obviously a former middleweight champion. Rich is an old school guy, he's been around a while, and he's recently fallen a bit of hard times. His last 4 fights, he's lost a split decision against Dan Henderson. He won Vanderlei Silva, but many could argue Vanderlei's a bit past it at this point. He lost to Vitor Belfort, which, you know, isn't really a terrible thing. He got knocked out in the first round after about 3 minutes, and though it was a bit embarrassing for Rich, Vitor's a good fighter, so we can give him a pass on that. In his last fight, he won against Chuck Liddell, knocking him out and getting knocked out of the night. Many people have said, "Oh, winning Chuck Liddell, that's a great achievement." It is kinda, but we all know Chuck's past it. He's lost his last 4 fights. He has no chin to speak of. Um, Rich showed a bit of heart in that fight. He came from behind. He's got 2 or 3 broken bones in that fight, and he still came back and got the knockout. But a knockout over Chuck Liddell's not all that impressive in the current state he's at. Rich is only a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu, but the gap between his and Forrest Jiu-Jitsu isn't too great, and Rich is good takedown defense anyway, so he's not going to get taken down. Um, I think the thing that's going to swing it in Rich's favour this fight is his stand-up technique. He can far outstrike Forrest, who's just going to put his chin down and throw. So I see this fight going to decision, maybe a third round TKO for Franklin, but I'm going to go decision, victory towards Franklin, 30-27. So finally, we've got Vitor Belfort versus Anderson Silva for the title. Belfort's currently 19-8 with a 5-fight win streak and a 3-fight KO streak. His last knockout coming against Franklin. Belfort's always had good power in his hands and good punching ability, and he's recently become a black belt in BJJ and Judo, though his belts aren't as decorated as Silva's. And I think if it gets into a clinch fight or if it gets into a fight on the ground, then Belfort's going to come out behind in that. But even standing up, everyone knows he's just going to throw big power punches, and his technique's not as good as Silva's. So I think he's going to be behind in the punching game, but that's his best bet, as he can hope to maybe swing and catch Anderson on a lucky shot and maybe put him down and capitalize on that. Anderson, obviously 27-4, 13-fight win streak. In his last 7 fights, he's had 3 fights of the night, 2 submissions of the night, and 1 knockout of the night. He's a black belt in Taekwondo, Judo, BJJ. He's a top level guy, and it's going to be tough for anyone to come in here and dethrone him and take the belt from him. He's got great striking. As I've already said, he's better at BJJ and Judo than Belfort. But it all depends on what Anderson Silva comes to the fight. The Chael Sonnen fight showed a lot of things. It showed Anderson had heart. It shows that you can't count him out of the fight, because if there's just a couple of seconds left in that fight, he's going to come back and he's going to win. But at the same time, if you come with the same attitude and the same level of aggression that he did in the Chael Sonnen fight, Belfort has a good chance of clipping him and taking him down and winning. So it all depends on what Anderson shows up. If it's the Anderson Silva of old, who's just demolishing guys, worked straight through Forrest Griffin, worked through other top guys, then this fight should be easy. Anderson Silva, knockout, 3rd, 4th round. But if the weak Anderson Silva comes, then we could have a massive upset and Belfort could win. So, conclusion, don't count Belfort out. He could catch a lucky punch. He could come in and just shock the world. Anderson Silva has been at the top level for a long time, and we don't know how much of an impact that's taken. Maybe this is the start of the slump in his career. I hope Anderson wins, and I'm predicting Anderson wins, but just heads up guys, we could have a massive upset here. So guys, as always, let me know what you thought of the video, comment, like it, tell me what you thought of the analysis, what you thought of my predictions. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm wrong? Tell me what you think I can improve on or what you'd like to see in the future. Anything. As always, I'm just going to listen, take it on board, and try to make the videos better for you guys. So, I'll see you around YouTube.